But in this, it was good to talk to the brother there. We have to support concepts of when people actually break down, they're not communicating effectively, and they start have a very emotion, attention-seeking behaviour. We've got to collectively come together and try to not support that, because what's happening in Speakers Corners is becoming like a soap drama, right? And that's good, but maybe there could be like a dedicated section for that kind of stuff. But if you actually want to learn something,
reality TV.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But here it's and you know what I mean.
Content over everything.
So I don't know. Let's try to come together to work on those kind of issues. But let's not mistreat people for whatever they're going through in their personal life that seems to manifest and break out in public here. Let's try to be constructively correct. All right, good. What are we doing now?
It's I think it's Ali Dawa's paycheck actually.
I wanted to ask you and Shekara a question in regards to the black community.
Go ahead.
In regards to a musical art form called drill music. I personally feel that drill music is detrimental in the sense that it has bad energy and it has helped to exacerbate various problems which already exist in the community. Right. Metaphorically speaking, it's like you see a bonfire, the music is like kerosene, you pour the kerosene on the bonfire, the fire gets more. It didn't create the fire, it didn't create the bonfire, but it helped to amplify it.
Do you feel that drill music might be a representation, a creative representation of what's actually going on?
It depends to who, because there are many black people living in those neighborhoods who are not involved in that lifestyle.
But the potentially the artists are though, right?
Some of them are making make believe.
So shall we start there then?
Yeah.
That'd be a good place to start. So what is making people feel they have to actually live up to these expectations? And what can we do as a community to show them other ways? So one of the things is there might be, I don't know if what you say is correct or not, I don't really know. But what I'm saying is if it is correct, then there's obviously some kind of pressure where someone feels they have to have these certain kind of personas, right? So I'm saying we have to push forward a different value system where people value different things. So for example, in the old gangster communities, whatever, right? Snitching was a problem, right? And they all got on code say, yeah, we believe if you're a snitch, you're this. Yeah, they all represent that's what it is. If they can come together and think that snitching is bad, we can come together and think that something might be good in the sense of learning is good. If a person goes and he can actually display that he's a learner, that she's a learned person, this is something that we value. Yeah, we should actually aspire to be that way, and we should actually brand things and rap about this kind of stuff, right? So we're almost being ignorant, or not even ignorant, arrogant, sorry, with our knowledge, and we're actually showing off, and that's what we aspire to be, right? Maybe we aspire to actually being technically good at rapping. Like technically good, like understanding metaphors, similes, hyperboles, these kind of stuff. And like, wow, this guy is crazy. This lady is mad. She knows all this kind of stuff. So I'm saying by adding more fruits to the bowl, yeah, and people can aspire to, maybe they won't necessarily feel that they have to be one thing.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's just one observation.
How would they be taught that though?
Well, I think my generation and the generation above and the generation below of people who value traditional, because drill music is a subset of hip hop, right? And
hip hop and grime, I'd say.
And grime. Yeah, but then drill's American based.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
but I was saying over here, there's definitely a grime influence.
It's the blend.
Although it's a different thing, but there's definitely a grime influence.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, the older generation have to actually start promoting this. They have to officially make this stuff. The music they make have to represent these qualities, right? And they have to be collectively together on the values of what it's about. So back in the old days, like there was a value system that you couldn't buy. And what that meant was if a guy had a style, you couldn't actually take that style because everyone would be like, you're buying a person's style, isn't it? So they were great shame. So these type of concepts is like, faking the funk or pretending to be living the life that you're not. We have to iron that out, right? And this is the only thing I can see for now. You can jump in, bro.
Yeah, it's funny, I actually recorded a report for this, on this subject, for Got Kush TV a couple weeks ago. It's coming out in a couple weeks.
Which TV show?
Got Kush TV. Yeah, Got Kush TV, GKTV. So yeah, I encourage you to check that out when it comes out, a couple weeks out. But what I'd say is, I think that anything that reinforces a particular negative condition could fall into the category that you're talking about in terms of pouring gasoline on the fire. Yeah. My only question is why would we single out drill? music.
Oh no, not drill. I don't single out drill. The other,
Right.
I could go to heavy metal. I could
Yeah.
talk about that.
But even outside of music, I think there are so many different things that contribute to the music that is being made, and that our focus on the music is kind of misplaced. But like there's an over focus on the music. And I'm not even saying that the music is positive, yeah. But I think that the over focus on the music as something that is causing a negative reaction in the community is a problem.
I have to be specific because
Yes.
because I said it exasperates. So as you're saying,
Yeah.
that falls into what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's already something there. There's
Yeah.
already a series of things.
Yeah.
It's just that music is helping to
No.
exasperate.
I agree. What I'm saying is, I think there are many things that exasperate.
Okay,
Yeah,
apart from the
I'm saying, yeah, apart from the music. But I'm saying that, and I'm not even saying that you're wrong for questioning the music. I'm just saying that in general, conversations tend to focus on the music without taking other things into consideration. Are you familiar with an artist called Drill Minister?
Yes.
Right.
And I saw his video.
Right, he's a drill artist, yeah? You know what I'm saying? And so we have a live example of a drill artist that is trying to do something different with the music, yeah? And this guy can actually spit, like he can actually rap. If you listen to him, like he's actually a very good, clever kind of lyricist, yeah? If you actually listen to what he's saying, yeah? And he's throwing them kind of things there. So the point is that the answer to your question, in terms of what Raven was saying, how do we get something different out of it, is exactly that. Yeah, there are artists that are out there that might be doing the music, yeah, the same kind of music, but they're saying something different, and it's for those of us who see them to encourage them and to promote
Very
that.
true.
Just what I'm saying.
May I add to that?
Yeah.
Back in the days, a lot of rappers were saying in America, a lot of them found trouble in getting a record deal if they wasn't rapping about certain kind of violent crimes on the streets, right?
Yep.
Well, I'm saying that we could flip that on its head, and we only really want to represent like a certain skill level of musician and a certain diverse delivery of content, right? And if we as a community only support that, naturally you're going to see a change. Just like all rappers decide to change to talk about street stuff because they value the record deal.
Yeah.
You know, we have to try to push that value system there so people can aspire and try to aim to be the goals we put out collectively.
Yeah, I'll share an experience with you. Yeah, I was so a youth that was very close to me was killed the other day, a couple months ago, and at his 9-9, another because I used to teach him in Saturday school, and so a lot of the Saturday school children came to the 9-9. And I had an interesting conversation with one of the that I used to teach, yeah, and he was saying that he's producing music and he's rapping and stuff like that, but sometimes he doesn't feel like he's got anything to say, yeah. And when I was exploring it with him, the reason why he didn't feel like that is because he's listening to all these artists who have had all these experiences that he hasn't had. And he's talking about, you know, the same reinforcement, the violence and the gang thing and the drugs thing, and he don't shot, he don't carry no weapons, like most of his close brothers are still alive, he's got one, two man that he knows that, you know, were killed, but he wasn't very close to them. And so man doesn't feel like he's got things to say in music, yeah? And so I had to explore with him, why does he think that is what an artist is? Yeah. That he has to say these things in order to be considered an artist. You see what I'm saying? And this is one of the things that I explore in this report that I wrote, because I'm saying that where are the examples of artists that are majorly successful? You've got drill artists at the moment that have completely independent careers, yeah? And the fact is, yeah, we could celebrate that, yeah? We could celebrate, as much as we might challenge or be concerned about what they're saying, we could celebrate the fact that these are people who have actually forged independent careers. They're not being played on radio, yeah? That's what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm saying? But they're selling out stadiums, not stadiums, like big arenas, yeah? Concert halls and the kind of things there, like Brixton Academy and the kind of things there, independently. Yeah? No record labels, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? And so it demonstrates something in terms of the circumstances that the young people are coming from. And many of them are doing the music in order that they don't have to take part in the reality of what they're speaking about. They're speaking about it, so they ain't got to take part in the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a deficient means of escape, because in a sense, I agree with you, in the sense of the fact that a lot of us who listen to the music are still existing in the condition or are living in the reality of it, if that makes sense, yeah? That's the reality, and we have to question it. But there are many dimensions to the thing. And I think what Raven is saying is true, because when he said it just brought this conversation to my mind. So I'm exploring with this young person now, like, yeah, well, you use your own experience, yeah, to inform your lyricism. So I was never on road like that. I'm an artist, and I speak about road, but I don't speak about road the same way next man speaks about road. I speak about from my own experience. So if I grew up in the ends and my brethren, all of them were on road, I have a perspective. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be their perspective. I don't have to speak like they speak. But maybe my perspective is just as valid. You see what I'm saying? In the environment that we're in, about exactly the same thing, because we're all experiencing the same environment, there's some different perspectives. And so, but the question is, why is it that the youth then feel that they have to say this in order to get on? Yeah, and that is a perception that needs challenging. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying that those of us who have that vantage point need to challenge that perception and also elevate other young artists who are trying to do. There are many artists that speak about violence, but they're not necessarily promoting it. You see what I'm saying? There are many artists that speak about their condition, but they're speaking about it in a sense of how can we change this? Yeah, and we're correct in saying that the environment as it stands is kind of geared towards promoting a certain particular kind of narrative. And so we've got to pierce that kind of the noise, so to speak, through whatever means that we can, and elevate something different. Yeah, and not try to condemn those who are doing other things, but show them something different.
Yeah, and one thing, because I spoke about this topic before, and one thing I try to push to make the conversation flow better is I put it down to a creative standpoint, right? I just think that the creativity isn't there in the sense of, another brother was saying, you know, how many ways can you skin a cat, right? Yeah. It's like, you know, if I was an artist, all I'm saying is, I've got a gun, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to stab you, I'm going to make your mother cry, whatever it is. Yeah. Well, then that narrative, that's like a one narrative, but you could make the song from the perspective of the mother burying her son. Yeah. You know, and then how the mother feels about you as the murderer. Yeah. So these kind of creative exercise, I think if you take craft serious, you should actually try to study and develop your craft. Yeah. So for me, it's how you can be creative. Also, one big part of why people gravitate towards certain kind of like music groups is edge, right? Something that's edgy, right? So with me, it's a re-observation of what is edgy. So for example, if what is edgy is I'm going to shoot at you, and this is like a cool, trendy, whatever thing it is, I go, okay, well, what else could we do? For me, I know for a fact, if I was to rap about black issues and tell black people to have black economics, that's edgy, because a lot of people are going to call me all those words. But I'm like, if you don't mind people are shouting at you saying, you're shooting people, you're bad, then you shouldn't mind them shouting at you saying, why do you want to have black economics for? Yeah. You know? And maybe I might make a song about marrying black women. That might be edgy as well. You know what I mean? And then when someone tries to step, it's like, yeah, but what? Let's compare my edge of black economics and your edge, innit? And let's be smart. So okay, you're in the condition you're in today because of the history of slavery, or the history of mistreatment, right? Well, I'm trying to do something about it, yeah. While you're going along with it, yeah. You have to flip and bounce, innit?
Trust. We have to unpack the extent to which our tastes, have been induced into us. Like we've been taught to respond to certain things. Yeah. I remember watching. Do you remember BET had a conversation some years ago called Hip Hop Against the World?
I think I remember. Yeah.
Right. Yes. What's it called? And
they had T.I.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. No, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. T.I. Right? Because there were a lot of questions talking about, like Nelly was on it, and that was soon after Nelly did the Tip Your video. Right, with the right, that kind of things there. Nelly was, and so T.I. said, look, imagine we did videos, that featured women with long skirts, button up to the neck, teaching children and whatever, and everybody would say, what the hell is this? And he meant everybody from the execs, the studios, to the audience. Yeah, nobody would respond to it. You put some women half naked in bikinis on a beach or around a pool, and swipe a card down their batty, and everybody's on that. You see what I'm saying? Right? That's just the reality of the situation, So the point is that, like, and the reality is, he's not wrong. Yeah, in his assessment of the dynamics, he is not wrong, innit?
He could change the dynamics, because what you're talking about started
one individual can't change the dynamics.
It started off in the early 90s when Two Live Crew and Luke Campbell were
all that kind of things there,
But it took a number of years where it became the norm. So if somebody started what you're talking about, and they did it for a number of years.
The fact is, we have seen that happen, you know. We saw it with Public Enemy, right? We saw it with Erykah Badu and Lauryn Hill. We saw that's slightly different. NWA, because they were the origin of what people call gangster rap. So it's slightly different, right? Okay. But the point is that people come periodically and have a major impact upon the dynamic. But if you check it, there was when during Public Enemy, again, there was NWA, yeah? During Erykah Badu and Lauryn Hill, there was Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown, yeah? Do you see what I'm saying? Right, the point is that whatever the thing is, like whatever what we might consider positive comes and it has an impact and then it dies down for a bit. The consistent trend runs all the way through that, all the time, yeah? So it's not one individual that changes the thing, it's the fact that our tastes have been geared towards a certain thing. They say that sex sells. Sex doesn't sell.
What creates
People are acculturated to respond to sex.
CEOs though, like these guys, like when they're talking about on the internet now, like these guys, what got his name now? They say he's a culture vulture.
Leo Cohen.
Leo Cohen.
Yeah.
So people like that who have a big impact in the the whole industry, a lot of them push a lot of these that kind of
Yeah.
Because he was talking about that he didn't really care if a guy you asked him a question about addiction.
Yeah, on the Breakfast Club.
Yeah. And he was like, listen, if
he's got a mortgage and children to feed.
Is that what he said?
And if that's what sells, yeah.
No, I'm trying to say, I don't really give a shit. I'm doing me.
There's a whole. You're right. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of the fact that, for example, you can chart the they used to say that hip hop was drug selling music. Yeah. Now it's drug taking music. Yeah. Everyone's there's been a lot of talk now about the fact that the major shift in that was actually Eminem, because Eminem was the first rapper to come and talk about I'm popping pills and right.
Before that,
I thought
they
T.I.
say like
was
it's
already
mafia and all these kind of people. A lot of
people were smoking weed and then trying to think
they're saying a little bit of people were.
Yeah, Eminem was because Eminem was 90.
Before that.
Eminem was 97.
Yeah, but I'm saying to make it a popular thing.
Yeah, Eminem.
That I'm on this drugs thing.
Okay.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying.
Well, Dr. Dre, Chronic, he was.
No, but marijuana.
It's different thing.
Okay,
Different thing.
Talking about the A class.
Yeah. Like we're talking about pills and snorting and kind of things there, right? You know what I'm saying, right? Back in the day, like hip hop used to take the mick out of people that used to take it and celebrate people that used to sell it.
Really,
yeah, right. It was taboo in the thing. Yeah, that's not to say people weren't taking it, because you can look at it from the 70s.
Ross Simmons and they
right.
used to take
a lot of people used to experiment with drugs. Yeah. But the raps that were coming out, for example, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Sorry, Grandmaster Melly Mel had a song called White Lines. Where he's talking about, you know what I'm saying, drugs being but he's singing, he's rapping against it. He's talking about the effects of it in the community. This is what I'm saying. So
that goes from what you were saying before when they're trying to say that it's pushing
this thing, right? There are execs, everything that comes through the music industry, even to this day, because even with the high levels of independence, the same gatekeepers have shifted their business models to instill in control. That's where Leon Cohen comes in, because he was Def Jam a bit before. Now he's
Simmons. That's where they started.
He's a Jewish guy, right?
Yeah,
he's Jewish.
Right? Now he's YouTube music. Yeah,
he's YouTube music.
Yeah,
he was 300 Entertainments, and then he was YouTube.
Right, that's what I'm saying. With all the shift that's going on at the moment, most of us still access the highest rated aspects of our music through BBC. Yeah.
Yeah,
the most views, that we get for somebody puts out a freestyle. Fire in the Booth gets more views than everybody else.
Again,
and it's BBC. And
he's
I don't know enough about man, innit?
But he's saying that. But he's trying to say that is another guy who's not black, obviously, and is Charlie Slough.
That's certain. That's for certain.
Taking. A lot of the,
That is for certain. You know what I mean?
Well,
I wonder if you. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, and I'm not changing it. It's staying on the same course, but it ties to what you're saying. Is like community representation. So, for example, he's a Jewish guy, and from that standpoint, he can talk about as a business. But what I do know about many people in the Jewish community, whenever something goes that might actually degrade the Jewish community, they stop it. Like,
100%.
There was a guy who got fired recently because he said something about Israel.
I know.
Yeah. So I'm saying
he's black.
Black guy.
Mark Lamont Hill.
Right?
I can tell you better than that though. With the Leo Cohen example.
Yeah.
When Professor Griff from Public Enemy came here and said something about Jews.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a beef. And Leo Cohen snapped it out quickly. And you saw a demonstration of it in the NWA film as well.
Now, black people, this is what we have to realize, right? About what's actually happening. When the brother's talking about gatekeepers, it's like sometimes we figure it's like some secret wishy-washy concept, right? But we see already that one guy is saying, look, whether it's promoting drugs or not, I've got bills to pay. But when Jewish people are affected, the bills can wait. Yeah, the bills can wait.
Is it what I'm trying to in this day and age, there should be no gatekeepers because we got our own. We can individually do our own thing now, as in like we don't need them anymore that much.
Well,
rather than before when you need contracts, you need 360 contracts. Now a lot of people becoming independent.
It's right and wrong.
People,
if you're saying he's in charge of YouTube music, well then
that's the point. It's right and wrong. So it's like
and
I say that as somebody who's a co-director of a media platform, but still at this stage of our development, we rely on a platform that is YouTube. That's not owned by us. Yeah.
Basically.
So the gatekeeping is not just the fact that we're able to do it. We've got more independence in producing the product. It's about who owns the platform.
But again, it goes back to the same thing again. It goes back to the same as in like we're not owners, isn't it? Ownership.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying about black people coming together to build. But more importantly, if you had a black person as a head of some kind of media establishment, then we would like to think that they will have more of a connection with black issues. So they'll be more conscious about what they put out. I was aware that in BET there was a husband-wife partnership. That they tried to get a balance, and they were shocked that when they sold it on, as soon as they sold it, they started having porno rap songs. You know what I mean? That's casually, and naked women everywhere, right? So this is the thing, like. That's why I think it's necessary for communities to have representation in high places, but only the actual joint itself. Because no one's going to think about, no other people are going to think about other people's community more than the person in their own.
But nobody really see. If you think about it, can you see that a lot of people don't care about BET and they want to get their recognition from places like the Grammys and stuff like that? See, they frown upon going to these kind of places where it represents them and it's something good to the community. They would rather go and get their, they want to get their. What's it called? What's the word?
The accolades from
and
that is a problem. That is a problem.
Do you get what I'm trying to say to you?
And I wish I jumped on that earlier, like back in the days, because when Fubu came out.
That was my brand, bro. That was my brand,
See, with me, it all went over my head because I don't think did it actually come to England. Like, it didn't come England strong because it was import.
It wasn't hard.
It was import,
but
right?
For me, I had an uncle that kind of. He brought me something Fubu and said, this means for us, by us. And from that, I was on it. Man was, you get me? You get me? So there was a lot of bootleg Fubu over there, though. Not a lot of authentic.
We've got to stop that. But what I'm saying is, this is the thing. The solution, the small solution I suggest really has a rippling effect. And if black people practice black betterment building, right, as in having respect for black people, then that solves the concept of people trying to kill each other. But also this concept where it's like, when someone does something like a brand, we all support it. So that way...
Like Master P now. Master P's got a shoe coming out.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a lot of people, I'm saying to you, so that's something that...
I don't think we should, because at whatever stage, we should be as independent as we can be.
Yeah,
so maybe we can't be YouTube yet, but we can be as independent as we can be right now.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I'm saying. And so we exhaust the possibilities of the level of independence that we are at the moment, and then pass that down to the next generation. And that's why I can't wholesale condemn the drill artist then, because because on one level we're saying what you're saying, man's got concerns about it, but I can also appreciate that your business model is something that we can all learn from. Just what I'm saying, and that's not to say that they don't have helpers as well, because they do. And they probably got more helpers than they even realise sometimes. But that's the reality.
It's like kind of like when you remember gigs talking the hardest kind of thing. That was frowned upon itself. That was like when that came out. That was heavy.
That dropped because Giggs had a heavy underground following that was gonna back anything that he said or did at that moment in time. Which is a lesson in and of itself.
Exactly.
Like if we're trying to do this thing, we've got to have a movement of people that's behind us that is supporting it. You see what I'm saying? Because the reality is, road has a movement. There are people, right? That's what it is. So there are people that they might have been in beef with Giggs and whoever it was, but when that tune played in the dance, every man was on it, fam. You see what I'm saying? Because everyone could understand and relate to what he was saying. Road man, all over the place could jam to that tune. That's just what it was. That's what I'm saying. It's bad, fam. It's a big tune, bro.
There's a question I wanted to ask you, because another one, because you helped me with the first one in drill. And I'll make it simple. I, as a black man, if I want to start a charity and build with other black people, and this deals with morality, should I build with black people who are involved in things that I consider morally questionable, i.e. stripping, gambling, drug dealing, gang banging. So let's say I have a business transaction. I'm a businessman. You come to me with a business transaction. We want to make business, but I find out that behind the scenes you're a pimp and you have prostitutes. Should I say to you, I'm not doing business with you because
that's a good question. I would say that when you work in a normal environment, you're working with non-black people, and would you hold them to the same regards?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then if that's that's what you should do. But what I would say this: if I'm trying to build with black people, if I see 3 black people who are pimps and stuff you disagree with, then I will search for the ones who I don't disagree with. I won't just turn my back completely on black people and go, well, there's 3 pimps, so my money's not going there. Do you know what I mean?
No, I mean, I wouldn't do business with them, but I would look for other black people.
Yeah. I definitely think that's what you should be doing. But sometimes we don't want to be too harsh. Sometimes, like, don't get me wrong, if someone's doing something that's actually destroying the community, fair enough, right? But maybe you want doing business because I don't know, like, does their pimping affect your business?
It affects the morality that I'm trying to implement.
You should.
Yeah, I think it depends on what we're trying to do. There are people that I know that work with people that are in certain things. It depends on the capacity. So if I'm running, for example, gang intervention, I'm gonna be working with all kind of men that are doing. But the point is that we're trying to engage our communities to change the conditions in our communities. Yeah. So if that's in that environment, I go in knowing what I'm going to encounter, but I'm doing it not for the sake of. The difference is that I'm not ignoring the reality. I'm actively trying to address it. Just what I'm saying. But it would depend on what it is.
I would definitely say you don't want to separate from black people. I think you want to have like a teaching method, but once again, you don't know why someone's in the business they're in, right? And that's the challenge. That's the biggest challenge. You don't know a person's upbringing to find out why they are where they are. So that's a big challenge. But if it's going to compromise your business, don't. Yeah. But then, once again, if I'm selling stuff, for example, if I'm selling footballs, right, that's my business. Would you sell a football to a pimp?
Football to a pimp.
So if your business was selling footballs, right? Yeah. Would you sell footballs to a pimp? Okay. Well, then that's the thing, because like that's where it might be different. So there's one where you might hire a pimp, or one where you're actually selling products, and it doesn't necessarily matter who buys the product, right?
It does involve you lot because
if I'm sat there right now, if I came here and I'm selling a product, I wouldn't discriminate against the people who buy the product. I wouldn't be able to do that because I don't know their story.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
As I've got a shop and a pimp comes in and he wants a football. Well, I ain't go. Because you're a pimp, you get no football.
Yeah, I understand.
You know what I mean? But if it's a business like he's my partner, well, that's gonna be concerned if he's a pimp and he's bringing his business inside my shop. That's not gonna run, right? And also me being associated with him, it might be a bit problematic. Do you know what I mean? I associate with pimps, prostitutes, drug dealers all the time when I'm going into community establishments. And I'm trying to feel remorseful about what they're doing. Some do, some don't. It depends on where you find them. Every person has a philosophy of why they do what they do, right? But we definitely know that there's certain activities that you do that you cannot do in other areas. And my thing is to try to have an understanding and work with them to find a better. You know what I mean? It's never to judge because you don't know a person's story. You know what I mean? You never know a person's story. And one thing I would say from our community is we shouldn't exile people for the shortcomings they have. Because if we were collectively in a better place, that wouldn't be an option. If you go to like a rich neighborhood, on average, the children the people that stay at are not going to engage in the same kind of activities that a poor neighborhood would engage in. You know what I mean? So I would say we definitely don't want to marginalize people. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. We should start our corner soon. So you guys carry on. I'm going to see if I can find the others and then...
When Modine came in.
Yeah.
You know, like he said about non-black people helping out. And so he said to me, not to me, to him, like, why would you want to help? Why do you care?
I said that.
Yeah, something like, I'm sort of roughly, I don't remember it word for word. So I just wanted to understand that, do you understand?
So
like,
for me,
from my perspective, like, I know you're going to say to me, what have you done for black people? Do you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like,
let me jump in. So it's like this.
I'm not putting flowers into your mouth.
I think if a non-black person wants to aid a black person in progression, this is good. But one of the ways how you can actually help people is by listening. And one of the things we say is that we have a request. Now watch this. If you uphold this request, we no longer need to practice black Birmingham building. So if the request is you go to a community, and whenever they're practicing racism,
and
you tell them to stop, and you let us know what's in practice so we can be aware of it. That's the best thing you can do. For example, there was a brother here, right, from Afghanistan.
You're gonna pay me that here, man.
And he told me casually, he said, in my community,
because of
the sheer majority of them dislike black people.
Yeah, he's like, yo, he's into it. He's like, oh,
And that's
I'm
fine.
thinking
And
now.
I said, okay. So in one aspect, you're saying your community dislike black people, right? But you're saying you want to help black people. And we're saying the best thing you can do is go to a community and stop them doing it. We don't need to talk to the person here doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like a long video, like copy and paste kind of cropping. Like, yo, like you know what they do to the celebrities? Oh, like, you know when they're eating a burger and they're saying, yo, this is supposed to be vegan, and then TMG goes crazy in that. It's like now. It's like, yo, it's like, bro. But then again, there's a negative to that because then a lot of obviously, you know, people in high places.
Well, this is a good point, George. You don't mind being seen, do you?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, saying a lot of good. But also,
I know
good.
My grandma, bless her soul, is racist because her two nephews are black. And she loves them to bits. Do you know what I mean? But then I know there's in Morocco there's racism. North against South. There's just like somebody a bit dark.
It could be like that.
If somebody's dark, they call it black. Somebody looks a bit Chinese, that's their nickname. Do you know what I mean? It's just...
But it's like this, yeah. Because black people operate in...
I just say, like, if I'm amongst Arabs, I'm not saying like, I can see people having discussions saying,
depends on how your energy and everything.
like Muslims are racist. There is Muslims who are racist, but that's not Islam.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, I've got people in my family members who are
It's like this. Every time people talk about non-black people and the reaction to non-black people, a few seconds down the line, they talk about how people in their family mistreat black people. So I'm saying is, that's no longer a topic that black people care about.
Yeah, like, how do we tackle it?
Yeah,
so for me, I tackle it with my people. I challenge my people.
And that's what it is. So, but I know that's all we ask. Yeah? But what you have non-black people trying to impose their views on black people. Like, you shouldn't do it. You should be able to join, and that's never going to run.
At the end of the day, listen, if you want to better your life, for me, I always say charity starts at home.
Right.
Like, if I'm in a good frame of mind, I'm good for my wife and for my kids. Do you know what I mean? And then I work with my family. That's not me being selfish. I look at, so as a black community, whether they're all Muslims, or Christians, or, do you know what I mean? The mix, they want to better themselves. Like you say, if as a black community, if me being on the outside say, what you can do is stop the Moroccan people or stop people that you know, whatever mix they are.
Do you think if I was Chinese or Asian or East Asian and I came and I said like an Asian betterment plan, do you think people would have the same reaction to it?
I don't know.
You know what? From what I've seen on the outside, I'm on the outside. I couldn't tell you what I see is when people hear black empowerment, they think like they're saying as if black people are superior. Do you know what I mean? That's what other people are thinking. Do you know what I mean? Like it's as if the black people are saying, listen, we're better than everybody and we want to better themselves and sort of everyone. But that's not what the message
but the question remains: if I was an East Asian or a Chinese person and I wanted that kind of betterment, do you think that I'll get the same response? Or from your knowledge?
Honestly, most possibly not.
That shows you of the condition that people are in. That even when they try to better themselves, there's a pushback. And this is not seen in any other people. That's why I stand firm in it. And I say, black betterment.
I grew up with friends from all over Somalia, Nigeria, Ghana, genocide. And I always hear from other people they say, they don't educate, they street this, street that. Go to colleges. How many black people? Go to uni.
One thing is very important to understand is one of the training we do is we don't acknowledge non-black people's negative opinions about anything.
Because it's challenging. For me, I challenge that. I always challenge that.
But the goal is for black people not to be aware of it, because it's too much energy and time. It's like if I come together and I say we're going to learn how to build up a machine or a PC. we don't want to keep talking about like, oh well, my granddad actually thinks you're stupid. Let's talk about it. I'm like, no, what, you know what I mean? I think black people are the most kindest people I've ever seen in the world are black people. I think if any other people went through what black people went through, yeah, it'll be a wrap. I think black people have showed dedication, discipline, and kindness the world over. And that's why today I'm unapologetically black bear in the building. It's like black people have been kind for too long. Now it's about focusing on black issues that has nothing to do with non-black people. That's it.
And may it prosper, do you know what I mean? Honestly, I wish you guys nothing but the best, do you know what I mean?
We need it. We need it. I'm gonna try to get something started now. You man, talk over there. I'm listening to start out from the team.
I need to take a piss first. I'm a forest man.
So you man talk about something on the camera, and then I was gonna
Ask you, are you a Rastafarian?
Am I a Rastafarian?
Because I don't want to just stereotype and say
I identify as Ras, but I'd say more broadly I'm an African spiritualist.
Which group? House of Nyabingi?
None of the above.
12 tribes?
None of the above.
None of the above?
No.
Really? So, which?
Yeah.
Now I'm confused. Which?
Okay, so I'm a born and raised member of an organization called the Al-Qaeda and Revivalist Movement. Yeah?
Sorry?
Al-Qaeda and Revivalist Movement. Yeah? And basically we're a Pan-Africanist organization that deals with African spirituality and culture as well. Politics, spirituality and culture, yeah? On an equal footing. So as a result of that, I deal with African spirituality in its kind of broad and all-encompassing sense. So all of the authentic traditions of our people, yeah, that are indigenous to us, I embrace in some way, shape, or form.
Everything.
All of the spiritual traditions of our people that are indigenous, I embrace.
Literally all of them.
Yeah, I embrace them. I wouldn't say I'm knowledgeable about all of them. You know what I'm saying? But I do have an interest in all of them, and I study as much as I can. I would say that the spirituality or the spiritual schools of thought that I am most coherent with are Kemetic, Ifa of the Yoruba. What's the right? Yeah.
Please continue, please.
Like Rastafari, and then like Shona spirituality, and others as well. You know what I'm saying? But the point is that the idea is that in African spirituality you have various expressions, but you generally find the same substantive basis. Yeah. For it. I am my family. On my dad's side is from Jamaica, so Rastafari is a very deep in terms of its cultural influence, yeah, in terms of the liberty of Rastafari, and so the liberty of Rastafari has been significant to my upbringing, my culture, and also because of what Rastafari brought in terms of linking us back to our African selves, yeah, culturally, politically, and spiritually. That is the context in which I embrace Rastafari. So I am not Ras because of Psalms or the Bible or Solomon and Sheba. Just what I'm saying.
And not because of Haile Selassie.
It's impossible to have Rastafari without Haile Selassie. But not because I believe that Haile Selassie is God. Just what I'm saying. All African spirituality, all African spiritual traditions have ancestors, revered ancestors, and in some cases deified ancestors. I have no problem with the concept of His Majesty and the divinity of His Majesty. I draw the line when it comes to trying to make Haile Selassie Jesus Christ or God. But having said that, more fundamentally, my road into a lot of my spiritual outlook from a Rastafari perspective comes from the Marcus Garvey angle.
Okay, I see.
You know what I'm saying? So Marcus Garvey as a prophet and them kind of things there. You know what I mean?
Because the reason why I was trying to not scrutinize but ask.
It's fine to scrutinize.
Because I mean I'm from Africa, I'm Nigerian, Yoruba.
Right. Yes.
But there are certain things I've been finding out about other systems like Trokosi. Have you heard of Trokosi?
Yes, I have. Yes.
And that's in Ghana,
yes.
Togo, and Benin.
Yes,
system where they take the women.
Yes.
So that's why I'm always like I always try to talk to people who love African spirituality and
yes.
try and get them to pinpoint which one because there are other forms of spirituality which are quite diabolic. In my opinion,
give me an example.
oh well, there's in the countries of Malawi and Tanzania, you have a particular practice.
So excuse, we can't move the camera.
In Tanzania, there's a particular system where they kidnap albinos. And
What? Sorry.
They kidnap albinos and they chop off their limbs in order to use it
All
for
right.
spirituality.
Now when I hear things like that, I always have to look at what is it about that. Not to say I sanction the activity.
Not all the spirituality in
No,
Tanzania.
I know you're not saying that. But when I hear things like that, I always have to look at what has brought that situation about. Because when we study our history, we've been through so much, and sometimes things are embedded into our culture as a result of either oppression or our responses to oppression. Yeah? What I mean by that is, from a basic example, if say for example your family experiences trauma, yeah, you can have manifestations of trauma that can be passed down generation after generation, yeah, and so the generations that come after, they never necessarily experience the origin of where it comes from, but they're still living out the effects of it. You see what I'm saying? So when you hear something like kidnapping albinos, that generally doesn't come from nowhere. You see what I'm saying? It's not something that, and so if we're talking about Tanzania and them kind of places there, these places have old, long histories. I'm sure they weren't doing that from eternity, from time immemorial. You see what I'm saying? So
I'd like to believe that, yeah.
Right. So it suggests to me that came in at a certain particular point. I'm not familiar with what you're talking about, so I can't speak to it directly. I'm just saying that I'm careful about how I define it. So I wouldn't call it the people's culture or their spirituality unless I know enough about their indigenous spirituality to say that. Because what I'm looking at maybe is a response to whatever that community that people have experienced.
And it's only a minority, not all Tanzanians.
Right, you just what I'm saying.
Just
So
a tiny.
So yeah. So it's like, but in that respect, though, I think that for me, the broader thing for me is, as far as the spirituality of African people, indigenously, it is the most demonized, the most neglected, the most rejected, the most bad talked about set of spiritual ideals on planet Earth. And so this is the power in embracing it as a cohesion, yeah, or as a synthesis of expressions, because there's political power in that. That's what I'm saying. And the more I've studied the different spiritual systems, the more I find that there's so many areas of complementarity between them. Not that they're exactly the same, but there's complementarity, and I think we can see throughout our history examples of this in the sense of the fact that communities live side by side and had different spiritualities, but they never went to war with each other over whose god is superior on.
That's true.
Just what I'm saying, like, it's not a feature of African history whereby people go to war because I worship Eledumare and you say Onyame. You know what I mean? It's not just what I'm saying. It's like, you know what I mean? You know?
That's actually an interesting point, because with the Abrahamic religion, so the history is different.
It's a definitive aspect of that history, of Abrahamic history, that people go to war over their god. Just what I'm saying. So yeah, but either way, and why I say I embrace all, even if I choose a particular expression, let's say for example that I'm not I've never there's not a strong Voodoo or Voodoo community over here for one to engage in Voodoo and spirituality, yeah. But I embrace it. I study the spirituality. You know what I'm saying? But even though, let's say I've never been in a Voodoo ritual, I still embrace the philosophy, the practice, the rituals. You see what I'm saying? All right. I still study it. I still appreciate what it is. If I learn, for example, at the moment I've begun studying spiritual systems from Central Africa, the Congo region. Yeah, there's an organization called Vuvamu. Yeah, and they have prophets such as Kimpa Vita and Mfumo Kibango, yeah, and these people. So I'm learning about that, yeah. I've never practiced what they're dealing with. I've been in environments whereby they're teaching about it. You know what I'm saying? And so I learn and I embrace that. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily have to know in intricately detail about the thing, but as an African and having an appreciation for for the spiritual system that we've given to the world, I seek to learn about and embrace. You know what I mean? How that makes sense?
It does make sense. I'm just trying to. I find it fascinating what you said originally with the mixture of Rastafari.
Yes.
And you said Ifa.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
does that work? Because they're both quite different.
Why you say they're different?
Well, with Ifa, you have various gods and goddesses. Oshun, Ogun, Shango, Rastafari, you don't have different gods or goddesses.
Yeah. So most people's popular conception of Rastafari, I get why you would say that, simply because most people have a very Abrahamic, what's the word? Interpretation. Yeah,
most likely.
Yeah, of Rastafari.
So it's in
whereas I don't. Yeah. Okay. So in the sense of when people used to ask me if I'm Rast, I would say kind of, sorta. Now I say yes. Yeah. But I never used to say fully yes because I was raised African spiritualist, and many Rastas used to ban voodoo and obia, and I didn't. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. When we look at Rastafari and its development, one of the most criminally undertow aspects of it is that it is born out of African spiritual retentions in the Caribbean. Yeah. So obviously, when we were brought to the Caribbean, we brought our cultures with us. Yeah. Voodoo in Haiti, we know Haiti is right next to Jamaica. Kumina in Jamaica comes from Central Africa, and then many of us in Jamaica are from the Akan or Ashanti lineage. Yeah. So you find dominant expressions. I'm sure you must know that, like in the Caribbean, the most dominant spiritual retention throughout the Caribbean is Ifa, yeah, that has developed into things like Candomblé and Santeria and them kind of things there. All right, so we have all these traditions, and so when you look at the rudiments and the liberty of Rastafari, all of it really comes out of the spiritual traditions that we kept and were evolving in the Caribbean. So the drumming, for example, Nyabingi drumming of Rastafari comes out of Kumina drumming. Kumina, as I said, is from Central Africa. Yeah. So Kumina is a faster drum pattern, generally speaking. You slow it down, you get Nyabingi. Yeah. But the Kumina drumming pattern, Kumina is a ritual of drum, song, and dance. Yeah. People used to channel spirit and them kind of things there. A lot of the founding fathers, and one of the major ones, Leonard Percival Howell, comes from St. Thomas. St. Thomas is known in Jamaica as the hotbed for what is called obia or mayo, yeah, which is again West African spiritual tradition, yeah. So they were all dealing with African spirituality on some level, shape, or form, and so in my journey in Rastafari, that is the channel from which I come from. Yeah, so I don't read Bible and, you know what I'm saying, them kind of things there, just what I'm saying. But it's about tapping into what were the issues that the founding fathers of Rastafari were trying to solve at the time. And it was a sense of self. Africans knowing ourselves, knowing our culture. Yeah, being in tune with what it means to be who we are, and developing communities, nations that based upon that. That's what I'm saying. So there is no, and then where it most directly fits for me with Ifa is in and all African spirituality is in its nature-based orientation. Yeah. So nature-based. Yes. So if we look at Ifa and we have the Orisha, yeah, all of which represent principles of nature. Yeah. Rastafari is a nature-based, yeah, philosophy, yeah, and culture. So that's why we have terms like Aital. Aital meaning like it's like natural but gone. Like it's a totally natural living, yeah. So we're focusing on the earth.
Is that veganism?
All these things, yeah. Focusing on like plants, the earth, river, yeah. And
smoking of the herb.
Even I don't smoke personally, yeah. But all of these things, and you will find African spiritual traditions whereby herbs are used in certain particular ways. It's just what I'm saying. So yeah, all these things are present. Now I would agree with the fact that popular expressions of Rastafari have been so Abrahamic that we've begun to neglect the African spiritual roots, yeah, the African spiritual expression. So instead of going deeper into the Kumina and the Mayo, yeah, and the Ifa and the Akan, we've gone deeper into the Bible. And start talking about some Hebrew Israelite, right? And you know what I mean? And Kebra Nagas, and which the Kebra Nagas has value as a book. I'm not denying the value of the Ethiopian line, yeah. But we have to also understand that Ethiopian history has been colonized by the allegiance to the Solomonic dynasty, yeah, and the Solomonic lineage. So when you go to Ethiopia, what dominates in Ethiopia is the validation of the line of kings coming from Solomon, yeah. Whereas Ethiopia has a history that predates Solomon, is thousands of years older than Solomon, but that has been subverted somewhat for the sake of accentuating the Solomonic line, yeah. And so you know, I'm interested in the Oromo people, you know what I'm saying, and the Tigre people, yeah, and the kind of things there, and then also the Kemetic, because it's Nile Valley we're dealing with at this point, right? So the Nile Valley history and culture, yeah, which many races in this day and age have begun to hold on to in terms of understanding the philosophy of Rastafari and the culture of Rastafari, because the deification of ancestors, the veneration of ancestors, and also the elevation of particular individuals or groups of individuals in our community that represent certain ideals is something that's deeply embedded in our history. So a lot of races look at, for example, in ancient Kemet, how the Nesubiti or the so-called Pharaoh was looked at as a representative of the creator on earth, yeah, which is the concept of Haile Selassie in effect, yeah. That's what I'm saying. But what Haile Selassie represented for I is, because of the history of Ethiopia, we know that the oldest.
What is I hear a lot of Rastafari.
I. So again, this is the beauty of the consciousness of Rastafari, yeah. There's no second person. Not like in English we say me and you. Me the first person, you are the second person. This is the I is the consciousness that there is no second person. There is I, and there is the I, who is also a part of I. In other words, we're one. It's another way of saying I am because we are, and since we are, therefore I am. It's another way of saying that I and I. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we don't even say we. It's just I. This is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know. So it's just I. You know what I mean? But yeah, what that represented for a lot of people was a reconnection to a nation, because what Haile Selassie represented, yeah, to the early races was an independent African nation, yeah. All this stuff about line of David, this Jesus in the Christ in the flesh and all of something there comes later. What it really represented was an independent African nation, yeah, for people that were colonized under King George at the time, yeah, or England at the time. That's what it represented. And so redemption was not in just the individual, but in what the individual represented. Independence, freedom, Africa, yeah, our own culture, our own history. So now we don't have to rely, yeah, on the colonial structure to find a sense of self. We're looking now, that you directly say, we don't pledge allegiance to Britain and the king. Yeah, we pledge allegiance to Ethiopia and the king that's over there. It's a shift in the consciousness. That's what it represented at that time. That's what I'm saying. And so when you dig deeper into that, because we're dealing with Nile Valley, we're dealing with the history of the people, our origins as a people, but not only our origins, the origin of humanity. Yeah. So what it represented was us being able to get a sense of self outside of the colonial boundaries that were created for us. That's what it represented. Yeah. Like I said, then now man start to read Bible, remembering that Jamaica is a Christian, is full of Africans who are Christianized. So in order to validate what I'm saying to my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, they have to see it in the Bible. Because we've been given this Bible, and it's not only our religious book, people at the time saw the Bible as real history. Yeah? You couldn't question the historicity of the Bible in the 1930s. Yeah, it wasn't done. Yeah, so in order to validate the thing, and you could easily do it. Why? Because of the titles of Haile Selassie. The titles of Haile Selassie, the things like King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Conqueror Lion of the Tribe of Judah. Yeah, Elect of God, elected. You can find all of these titles in the Bible, throughout the Bible, particularly in Revelation. Yeah, so if I'm in a debate with you, and I wanted to win the debate, I'm gonna say, look, see it here, it's there in the Bible. The man named King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Conqueror Lion of the Tribe of Judah. Yeah. Now, so I don't completely dismiss that experience because it's a real one, and maybe the brother, the elders and the ancients and the people that founded the ideals maybe would not have survived properly, fully. Yeah. Because there was a lot of attack against Rastafari. And maybe part of how they survived was being able to validate what they were saying by this book that everybody so thoroughly respected. Yeah, but I'm at a point, and because of my upbringing, whereby, because I've never dealt with the Bible, I don't need it. So I don't validate anything that I deal with through Bible, Quran, Torah, nothing. I'm not interested in whether we can be found in it. I'm not interested in whether we can be whether we're the original Hebrew Israelites or the original Arabs. I'm not interested. Yeah, and we may be. I'm not saying that we're not, you know, but I'm saying that what is indigenous to us is what I'm focused on. I'm not preoccupied with the Abrahamic life.
So what do you do for Oshun?
What do I do for Oshun? In August, yeah, we called him after Messiah, yeah, after Marcus Messiah Garvey. I was at an Oshun ceremony.
Where?
In somewhere in South London. But we went to a river, you know what I'm saying? You know, drumming and yeah, singing praise songs to Oshun, and we created our offerings on trays, you know what I'm saying? Different things, you know, mirrors and coconuts and, you know, spring water and them kind of things there, you know what I mean? So yeah, you know, so I've taken part in various ritual ceremonies, Ogun and Oshun mainly. Those are the ones that over here people tend to be focused on.
Some of those, what was the word you used? Ceremonies.
Yes.
Some of them are quite diabolical.
Why you say that?
Because of stuff that I took part in when I was a kid and when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Which all I will say is it was in Ogun State,
Okay.
Belkuta. It was off the beaten track into the bush to a shrine.
Yes.
There were deities.
Yes.
Some were made of wood, some were made of metal.
Now let me ask you this: was the deity made of metal, or was an artifact made to represent the deity?
An artifact was made to represent the
Right.
deity.
Okay. Cool.
And
I'm asking that because people believe. Well, go on. Yes, Jedi. Yeah, right. Yeah. What's it
the
called?
ceremony was in Yoruba.
Yeah.
And things were said, things were done, which I had to take part in.
Yeah.
And
Which you're not going to talk about, Carol?
Yeah, because it's like a horror story.
But so you say diabolical?
Yeah.
Because I've always found the tradition beautiful and powerful.
That particular ritual I took part in.
Okay. Well, I think there are many that would argue that there are
Fire
many.
upon the voodoo, man. Fire upon your
Voodoo,
and
Mr.
your black magic
Voodoo,
and your
Mr.
fucking-
More voodoo. Yeah. We say, well, read more Bible, yeah?
No, not that at all. Not
joking.
that. Now, embrace your natural thing, but I do think there's a fine line between engaging in authentic ceremonies and then dabbling in the occult and spiritism
So
and stuff
you
like
say
that.
you bond the occult?
I can't say I bond the whole occult, because I don't know the whole occult, but I would say practice caution, exercise caution. And I would say
I would agree with that though.
Whatever our people were using, and spirit-wise, and information-wise, science-wise, at some point I would say there's evidence to say that this thing is probably backfired on man. Especially when we know that the leaders today are using the same type of science.
Explain the evidence.
I would just say like the state of our people, innit, yeah?
Right.
And I would just say the state of our people.
So what if I said that the state of our people is more a reflection on the fact that we've turned our back on our indigenous spirituality more than we've embraced it?
I would say that you'd have a valid point, and it'd be one I'm willing to hear more about.
That's a good point.
Get me?
That's a good
I definitely fuck with that.
Yeah.
But my main thing is this. I feel like we romanticize anything that we done originally.
Yeah.
We romanticize it, and I think we need to stay away from that.
I'd agree, because we're born romantic, so we don't want to do the romance, you know what I mean? But I think I think that's natural in the sense of the fact that because it's been so heavily demonized, when we rediscover it, it's like you all you want to do is learn about it. You don't want to question it. We've been indoctrinated into everything other than that spiritual science for a long time. So it's like, this is what people say, like, people romanticize Africa. And I get it, like, we don't want to do that, especially because of the condition of the continent at the moment. Yeah? All right, bro.
You ain't showing graphic thing, are you?
Proper graphic, like, man, just...
Yo, whoa.
That's
What is that,
levels.
bro?
That's why I have to ask, because
Is that what you experienced?
I mean, I'm not saying more.
Who is that? Where can I find that video?
Right. Yeah.
Levels to the thing.
Where can I find that
But
video?
can I say it? Can I say it?
No. You're not being Catholic now. Don't cover the truth. Where can I find that?
It's not covering the truth.
That video was sent to me by a relative in Nigeria. So I didn't actually go to a website. They sent it to me on WhatsApp.
Oh, okay, directly.
But this is the thing, yeah, right? Because I'm listen. Guy, it was a lot. Man just threw for something different, like I don't know why.
Nah, but is it different though?
Yeah, it is different.
Why is it different?
Right, this is my thing, and I'm protective because I know that most people. It's like if I say Christianity, a lot of wickedness has been done in the name of Christianity. I'm not. But when I say Christianity, most people don't think of the wickedness that's been done in the name of Christianity. Yeah, so I'm not saying that there are not people that in
Me and Raven do. Raven's thinking I do. Yeah, but I do.
But
and
most people don't.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to deny that things have happened in the name of. I'm not going to deny that people have perverted African traditional spiritual systems. I'm not going to deny that. Yeah, that's the reality.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Why do you say perverted? Are you sure of what the original state was?
Am I sure? Put it this way: as much as I have engaged in, studied, researched, and practiced, suggests to me that is not like the
I could
original
agree
thing.
with that still.
Right?
And I think this is what the problem is.
Right.
We can't. We have a version of what our ancestors did.
Right.
Yeah, and we are assuming that this is the whole of how they practiced it, and I believe there's some aspects to what we may attribute to our ancient orders, which actually, when we look down, may not be.
Are we allowed to
That's what
refine?
I'm saying.
As a culture,
Refine?
Are we allowed to refine?
That's my thing.
No,
Let's say that's the case. Yeah, all spiritual practices evolve over time.
Yeah.
The difference is most spiritual practices on the planet have a level of continuity, so whereby they're able to evolve, their own thing. You see what I'm saying? Like organically. A lot of us, I would argue that none of us were able to do that as African people. Yeah, even those of us on the continent had what we were dealing with interacted and impacted by colonialism. Yeah. Not to say that there are not pockets of it where it's indigenous.
Yeah, because even when you look in Haiti, you see the influence that the Abrahamic faith has
had on the team. Right? But I'm saying on the continent, for example, like people, there are I know people for like for example, when I went to Ghana, my brethren who's Ga was showing me around Accra, and if you don't know the signs, you would think that like the whole of Accra is this pure white Jesus and whatever. But he was showing me the signs to pick up what you call Wolomo or Wolome, which are terms for the spiritual leaders, in the Ga, among the Ga people, So this is things like when you see a tree painted white, look at things like that. And he was giving me the history of the Ga people, and he was saying when the Europeans came, we never had no kings, all we had was our spiritual leaders. They were the ones who organized the community. But when the English came and the Dutch came, they wanted to speak to a king. So it's like the people them set up a king in order to speak to the British. Now the Ga have kings and that kind of thing to this day, right? So it's like not a lot of our spiritual practices or our communities have been affected by this process of colonization.
I would say just on my final thought before I go partake in my own libation.
But
what I would say is, I think our main issue is we think there's a time period from when our shit got contaminated. And what I would say is, before our shit got contaminated by the obvious, internally we had.
But I agree with
think
that.
this is that was the gateway to allowing this
I jump
But I'd
on
agree
this,
with
right?
that. But I'd agree.
People have practice, right? And we say, are the practice working? Are they not working?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Get me?
So if you show me something where someone's doing some obscene thing, I'm like, what is happening?
value?
What's the
Yeah,
value of this?
Yeah.
and
And
that's
we're allowed to evolve our culture and
yeah.
spirituality. There's a book here, one of my favorite books in the world. Yeah, it's a novel, but it's very historically based. By a guy called Aye Kweyama. It's called 2000 Seasons. Yeah, and he exactly what he just talked about. He deals with that. He talks about the fragmentations between us. Yeah, that even allowed for them to come and dominate us in the first place.
The weakness in the link.
You see what I'm saying, right? So I don't deny that. It's just that a lot of what we're seeing now that people are calling tradition may not actually be tradition.
This is what I'm saying.
But it's through the practice of it and the involvement in it that we're going to refine it as what Raven is saying.
Okay, well, I reserve my judgment on that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a whole different subject on its own.
But how you're thinking is valuable, I push forward. Like,
Thank you.
to always criticize and critique and wonder what is the value of this. Do you know what I mean? And can it be?
But
I will be back, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do your thing. Sacramental rudiments, I forgot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. Shall we start our corner then now?
Yeah, when you're ready. Oh, are the rest of the men?
Well, I told him he'll jump in when we come, but
Oh, she is on the Shia, yeah?
It's his thing.
Is it?
So basically, this is our corner now, all right? And brother, there's a topic that you might be able to jump into, right?
Content over everything. From your melody. Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
So the two topics we're going to cover today is how black people are represented in the media, yeah? And you mentioned something earlier. And what was the second one? What to teach, what's the skills to teach the next generation, yeah? So which one should we start first?
Let's start with the media and end with practical.
Yeah, okay. So how are black people represented in the media? Anyone jump in?
Stereotypes, caricatures.
Right.
They're not